Expos mascot Yuppie up visiting with the fans.
Yuppie has a lot of fun, and the fans really love him.
Yeah, and you know, in addition to being named Yuppie and being a mascot, I don't know really what he is, but he does have a lot of ham in him, that's for sure.
He does that. And he can dance.
Yeah, and the fans love it. They have a great time with him. Here's Tony Perez, struck out in the second. Remember, he chased that pitch, and it almost got by Dennis Littlejohn. 1 ball, no strikes. Bottom of the fourth, no score. Clark. 1 away. Gary Carter up. Expos and the Giants play here again tomorrow night to conclude the 3-game series. They'll meet one more time on the West Coast. The Expos go to the West Coast for their final tour of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego right after the All-Star break. Steve Rogers, the Expos All-Star pitcher, will be pitching here tomorrow night, looking for his 10th win. John Montefiusco for the Giants, looking for his 2nd.
Now Gary got another pitch up, but almost the same result, a little bit more towards left center field this time.
And Bill North made the play, and Ellis Valentine coming up with 2 outs and nobody on in the 4th. There's Big Ellis. Ellis Valentine had been out for over a week with a hip injury. He came back into action, re-injured the hip in Chicago, but has stayed in the lineup. And we asked him about his health before the ball game.
First of all, coming back in the lineup, I'm feeling pretty good. It's not all the way worked out yet, but you know, it's good enough for me to play on.
So Ellie's not 100%, but he's in the lineup. That hip has bothered him. When he re-injured it in Chicago, it was in running out a ball to first base.
We have to talk about the play he made last night, Dave.
Here's a mile-high pop-up. That'll get up into the radar. LeMaster, he's got it. The shortstop with the goatee makes the play. 3 up, 3 down, nothing for the Expos in the 4th. We'll go to the 5th inning of play at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The Giants and the Expos are scoreless. Our quiz tonight: who's the only man ever to hit 2 home runs in 1 inning twice in his career? We gave you 1 clue. Here's number 2. He was an all-star game teammate of Duke Snider. So there's clue number 2 for you to go with clue 1. He was born in Mobile, Alabama, and he has played in both major leagues.
You know what?
So now you got a couple of clues to work on.
You know one thing for sure right there, that he's no youngster. He and I played in an all-star game together. That's got to narrow it down a little bit.
Well, that might.
He's got to have some gray hair or none at all. Bruce, how are you?
Countenance of Bruce Fremming, the plate umpire.
Bruce says, how come you don't come and see me anymore? Last year we gave him a gift certificate to a fine restaurant here in Montreal, and now that they got their raise, I told him, I said, we don't have to give you any gift certificates to any restaurants anymore. Well, you got your raise, you can take us out to dinner. He said, ha ha.
Dan Schatzener will pitch to Herndon, LeMaster, and Littlejohn for the Giants here in the 5th. Herndon struck out in the 2nd. Low and in.
want to get back to that Valentine thing that happened last night, if we can, right here.
Okay, a play that Valentine made. He was in
very
right
often.
field.
It's been attempted a few times, but a line drive to right field. Evans hit the ball. Valentine charged it and threw Evans out at first base where he could get there. And that's just a play that I think I've seen happen about 3 times in my career.
I've seen Ellis do it twice. I saw Rusty do it once. Rusty stopped. 3-1 now, the count on Herndon. Three and two. Dan fighting back here. Larry Herndon, the batter.
You didn't see that.
3-2.
Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that answer.
That is not a right-handed Willie McCovey at the plate. 3-2 pitch. On the way to left. Cromartie under it. One down in the 5th. And LeMaster coming up. Here's a look at Dan Schatzeder. Had a 7-7 record last year, 13-9 lifetime in the National League. Another one of the homegrown Expos. Fly ball to Valentine. Out number 2. That's one of the things that is so satisfying for the Montreal fans that have stuck with this ball club right from the beginning, that they're seeing the team do something here in this 1979 season, and they're doing it with so many homegrown ball players. The entire outfield signed and brought up through the Expos farm system. Cromartie, Dawson, Valentine, Parrish, the third baseman, Carter, the catcher, the pitcher, Dan Schatzeder in this case tonight. 1 strike on Dennis Littlejohn. He's a rookie. Ball 1. He's noted for his defensive plays. The number 3 catcher on the Giants squad. This is just his 2nd ball game. Parrish at third with another hot shot.
Great play.
Gets it on to first for the out. 3 up, 3 down for the 2nd inning in a row. Nothing here for the Giants, and Dan Schatzeder's working on a 2-hitter. And John Curtis, the Giant pitcher, is working on a 1-hitter. And we're midway in the 5th inning with no score in the game. If I got a minute.
Yeah, okay, Don Brown. Yeah.
Well, as we go into the bottom of the 5th inning, the Expos will lead it off with Larry Parrish. Parrish struck out in the 3rd inning. And show you how much we know about this game of baseball. We said the Expos would hit left-handed pitching so well that they welcome the sight of a John Curtis out there. John Curtis has given up 1 hit, that to a left-handed batter. See some of the Expo players: Ross Grimsley, Steve Rogers, Scott Sanderson, Tommy Hutton, chewing his gum. Like they're worried to death, doesn't it? 3 pitchers and captain of the bus squad, Tommy Hutton, all starting pitchers.
Don Whitman, did you see the bus squad warm-up area?
I saw that prior to the game, the warm-up area just behind the Expo dugout, and they take this bus squad tag rather seriously, don't they?
They sure do. That's a well-equipped area back there.
I'll tell you something else I discovered down here at field level. Bruce Fleming, the plate umpire, takes his job very seriously. He came over and in no uncertain terms suggested what we could do with our monitor down here. He made us remove it.
Brucey doesn't want anybody in that dugout having access to a replay, I would guess.
A lot of the players, there's a protective guard for Larry Parrish. He hit a ball into his ankle in Wrigley Field. He was out a few games, but came back strong on Monday night. Had a couple of hits, drove in a run. And the umpires don't like that. The manager and all the players will run over and look at the replay, and then the manager comes out and starts arguing, so he wants to get away from that.
Right, and that's the discretion of the crew. There's not a steadfast rule. For example, in our game in St. Louis, there was a monitor in the dugout when we telecast out of there. The players were looking at off and on all night. The umpires there elected not to say anything or do anything about that. Just depends on the crew and how they feel about it.
I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't want to get into an argument with him.
With Bruce?
With Bruce?
He'd be nice to you.
He's a tiger.
He could outrun him.
Parrish out of there. One down in the fifth. The only hit so far off John Curtis was a single up the middle by Warren Cromartie in the third. We're now in the fifth inning and no score. And Jim Mason coming up. Mason, who walked in the third.
Bruce Fleming was umpiring a game in the minor leagues before coming up to the majors. It was a Texas League championship game, playoff game, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ball 2, and he was umpiring third base, and the Tulsa runner on second base was scoring on a base hit, and he missed third base.
Strain, the second baseman, over to Ivy for out number 2, and
the team that happened to be Albuquerque. Albuquerque players appealed the play. It ended up being the winning run. They appealed the play, and Bruce Fleming called the runner out. And he went on into extra innings, and Albuquerque won the championship. And they had to get a patrol car to take Bruce to the airport in his uniform to get him out of town. He said he missed the base. What am I going to do? He said, I have to call it the way I see it.
One strike on Dan Schatzer. He struck out trying to bunt in the third. Curtis on the mound with the fielding play, and another 3-up, 3-down inning. Nothing across here for the Expos. We'll return with the coverage of Major League Baseball 79 after station identification.
Oh, there's a poor man.
Is the director of the Montreal Expos, and in a pre-game ceremony, a presentation made to amateur baseball in the province of Quebec.
That's right. This was a Quebec share of the proceeds from the attendance at the exhibition game held in May between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Montreal Expos. Last year the game was in Montreal. Next year the game's in Montreal. And this was the proceeds for the development of amateur baseball in Quebec.
Check for better than $20,000.
That's right. And next year we're hoping for more.
And next year hopefully the game will end in a decision.
Yes. You've got to remember that this year the decision to have a curfew was made before the game started, and unfortunately the announcement was made in Toronto only at the beginning of that last inning. So there was a feeling, I think, among certain fans that the Expos were sort of copping out a little bit. The truth of the matter is that it had been established 4 hours in advance.
Okay, at any rate, amateur baseball in this province certainly receives the benefits of that game, and hopefully more will be added to the funds next year. Okay, let's go back upstairs to Duke and Dave.
Okay, thanks, Don. And a chat with member of the Expos Board of Directors, Mr. Hugh Hallward. Tell you something about Hugh, Duke. He is probably, well, not probably, I'd say unquestionably, on that board of directors, he is the baseball fan and expert. He can tell you everything about everybody, anytime, anywhere. He is really up on the game. He's up on the club as an organization, everybody in the minor leagues. He's really into baseball, the game of baseball. He loves the game, knows it exceptionally well, knows it inside and out.
He loves to talk the game of baseball. Yeah. That's the way you learn.
Curtis up there.
Schatzeder's having a problem here. He's not given up a walk, and he's 3-0 to the pitcher of all people. Curtis 2 for 15 this year. Has a 160 lifetime batting average.
And he lost him on 4 pitches. Now we'll see what the Giants do with that. The first walk given up by Dan Schatzeder. And that brings Bill North to the plate. All right, Duke, you know Bill North here. What would you have him do?
Well, with Bill North's speed, he's injured a little bit. He still stole a couple of bases last night, but with his speed, why, you could go 2 ways with him. You could have him bunt, which I think he will be doing.
There's the bunt, third base side.
Because he could beat it out.
Just in time at first with Scott covering. Good play by Parrish, and Curtis is down at second base.
Larry calling Schatzeder off and had to throw on the run because, as we mentioned, North can get down that line. They got him by a step and a half.
A good view of that. Had the complete play there by Parrish, and here's another look.
North, a good bunter. He got the bat out there where it belongs on a bunt, out in fair territory. Carter on the hustle to third base to cover third. You saw him go out of the picture. It's his job to get over to third so that the base runner on first base cannot get all the way to third base.
Strain 1 for 2, got a base hit in the first. The rookie second baseman. That's trouble if it's fair, but it's a foul ball. Strain has shown one thing here, Duke, the last couple of nights. The left-hander makes a mistake, he can hit the ball with power.
Well, he can. He gets that big end of the bat out front. He chokes the bat, as you see there, a good 3 or 4 inches. But he gets that big barrel out there and can't hit a ball out of the park.
Here's the 1-strike pitch. Parrish holding the runner, then the throw. Strain is out. That's going to bring Jack Clark to the plate.
Well, you saw Parrish pick that ball up, and you see him pick it up and then look the base runner back right there and then make his throw to first base. What you have to do, because if you don't look him back, why, if it was somebody that could run, not the pitcher, why, he'd get a pretty good lead and then run over to third base. Rodney Scott has done that several times this year for the Expos. And Larry with a big grin.
2 away. A dangerous hitter up there. He's their big RBI man. Might be playable for Perez.
He's got it.
Schatzeder out of a jam after walking the pitcher on 4 pitches. He got the top third of the Giant batting order to get out of it. No runs, no hits. 1 man left by San Francisco midway in the 6th. No score in the game. Here is clue number 3 for tonight's quiz. Who's the only man ever to hit 2 home runs in 1 inning twice in his career? And our third clue, he holds the National League record for Grand Slam homers. That goes with clue 1, born in Mobile, Alabama. He's played in both major leagues. Clue number 2, he was once an all-star teammate of Duke Snider's. And now our third clue and our final clue, he holds the National League record for Grand Slam homers. We'll have the answer coming up. Bottom of the 6th for the Expos, top of the order against John Curtis. Doing quite a job. We mentioned earlier a 4-5 record overall, but he's 3-3 as a starter, and more than that, recently as a starter. He's done a terrific job. And he's got Warren Cromartie coming up. And we asked the Expos leadoff batter, Warren Cromartie, about facing left-hander John Curtis.
John is the type of pitcher that we've only faced him one time, and that's in relief. So as far as we understand, he's got 2 types of pitches, a fastball and a slider. So we can look for pretty much the ball around the plate tonight, and hopefully something to hit, and then we can capitalize on it.
And Warren has the only hit that Curtis has surrendered through 5 innings. And he steps in here to open up the 6th. Warren is 1 for 2.
Warren's right. He has been around the plate, John Curtis. He's walked 2 in the same inning, the 3rd. And he's mixing his pitches up well with that fastball, slider, and curveball. Fastball right there.
Curtis last started on July 6th in a loss to the Phillies.
That was a slider. So Cromartie's gotten both pitches. He's 0-2.
Still 0-2.
Interesting how different clubs play Cromartie. The outfield here shading him a little bit towards right field.
And Curtis struck him out. He's pitching a superb ball game. 4th strikeout for Curtis, and here it is.
Now watch this pitch. It's a slider. See it break away and down. Cromartie, no chance that time. He committed himself too soon on the pitch.
Curtis has only faltered once. That was in the 3rd inning when he walked 2 and gave up a single to load the bases, but he got out of that when Dawson flied out to center. In each other inning of this ball game, he has retired the side in order. 1 strike on Rodney Scott. You can probably tell by the reaction, Rodney did not agree with Bruce Fleming's call. So Rodney called out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts and 5 in the game for John Curtis. Let's take a look at it. You can be the umpire.
You be the umpire this time.
Wow.
Remember, the catcher is further back. He's a good 3 to 4 feet in back of home plate, so where he catches it does not determine whether it was knee high when it went across the plate. That's what the umpire determines. It was close.
Dawson has hit one that's got Curtis in trouble.
Not quite.
Turned it right there. The best bolt of the night, and it stayed in the park. Nothing for the Expos in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th inning with no score in the game. Stadium through 6 innings. No score in the game. John Curtis working on a one-hitter. Dan Schatzeder on a two-hitter. And the middle third of the San Francisco order coming up. Here's a look at the All-Star team, the pitchers. I don't think there's really a surprise there for the year. If there is a surprise, might be Joe Niekro, 34-year-old veteran right-hander, knuckleballer. He's got 13 victories.
That's right, Dave. Maybe Mike Lacoste. He was 8-3.
Ted Simmons was voted as the #1 catcher, but of course he'll not be able to play. He's injured.
That's a mighty fine ball club, isn't it?
You bet. They're the players as voted by the fans. The pitchers, of course, are named by the managers. Bob Lemon of the American League naming his staff yesterday. And the selections you saw there, Tom Lasorda's National League selections. Mike Ivy, part of the crowd here at the stadium tonight.
That's trouble.
That is serious trouble. Cromartie did not move. And Ivy has the Giants in a 1-0 lead. That's the third hit surrendered by Dan Schatzeder. And it puts the Giants in the lead. It's the 12th home run of the year for Mike Ivy. A strong young man, and he hit a bolt way up into the seats in left. And the Giants lead 1-0.
Well, he is a strong young man, and he hits some tape measure home runs, Dave. And one of these days, if he doesn't get too old before McCovey retires, why, he could have a very powerful year and be in the tops in the league in RBIs and home runs.
You saw Warren Cromartie's reaction.
Warren did not move.
And that's up there rattling around. 1 ball and no strikes to Darrell Evans, who's grounded out twice to Perez. American League pitchers will be Tommy John and Ron Guidry of the Yankees. Nolan Ryan and Mark Clear of the Angels. Bob Stanley of the Red Sox. Dave Lemancic of the Blue Jays. Jim Kern, who's an outstanding relief pitcher with Texas. Don Stanhouse doing a great job in the Baltimore Oriole bullpen. Sid Manji of the Cleveland Indians. Three and 1 the count on Evans.
I was hoping that Phil Niekro could make it so the brothers could be on the All-Star team together. Phil and Joe, but didn't work out that way.
Here's a play for somebody on the right side. Rodney Scott wants it. 1 down. And Larry Herndon coming up for the Giants. That's Stan Bonson. Curve for a strike. It's the 5th home run given up by Dan Schatzeder. And Mike Ivy has hit it here to give the Giants a 1-0 lead. That's going to be into the seats. Dan's given up home runs to Joe Ferguson, Dan Dreesen, Art Howe, and George Hendrick. And now Mike Ivy here tonight. Ivy's now hit 3 this year against the Expos. 2-strike pitch. Low and in. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. We mentioned the left-hand pitcher's record against the Expos, 11-4. That also happens to be the shutout mark. The Expos have only been shut out 4 times. That's all for Herndon. The pitching staff has pitched 11 shutouts, but the Expos have only been blanked 4 times.
The Schatzeder took something off this pitch, turned it over a little bit. Watch it go down and away from Herndon. He was fooled completely on the pitch. It's out of the strike zone.
The top of the 5th inning tonight. Toronto and the Brewers 1-1. at Toronto. We don't have the opportunity tonight to pass on too many scores to you because there's been a technical problem receiving the scores, not just here in our booth, but throughout the press level here at the stadium. Nobody's receiving the out-of-town scores. LeMaster hitting it on the ground for Scott. So after the home run, they went 1-2-3, but the home run has changed this game. A run on one hit, Mike Ivey's home run, and now after 6.5 innings, the Giants lead 1-0. Hi, everybody, back here at the stadium. I just mentioned the shutouts, Duke. There have been 11 pitched, 5 of them, of course, by Steve Rogers, who leads the National League in that department. Expos only blanked 4 times. We pointed out how the Giants are a run-scoring machine. So are the Expos. Either one of these clubs tough to hold down. I'm surprised we have a 1-0 game.
Well, I am too, and especially with the left-hander pitching for the San Francisco Giants tonight in Curtis, but he has the control tonight, and the Expos are seeing a left-hander for one of the rare times in the last month, and they're overswinging. They're seeing the ball so good that they're overswinging and lunging at the ball, and that's why they're not hitting the ball. They're not waiting for it to come to them and then popping it.
Okay, here we go back to the action now. Tony Perez, the hitter, 0 for 2. John Curtis working on a beauty here. LeMaster to Ivey. Gary Carter coming up. The 4 pitchers to have shut out the Expos. Doug Rao of the Dodgers, he's now out, of course, injured.
He's a left-hander.
Yeah, he pitched a 1-hit shutout on May 11th, which marked the first time in the season that the Expos were blank. And a couple of days later, on the 15th, strike 1, John Denny at St. Louis pitched a 2-hit shutout against the Expos. The very next day, Bob Forsch, with help from Mark Littell, pitched a 6-hit shutout against the Expos. So 3 of the 4 shutouts were right there in that streak together from May 11th to the 16th. The last one coming on June 27th when Silvio Martinez pitched one for the Cardinals, a 1-hitter. So 2 of the 4 shutouts have been 1-hit gems, a third a 2-hitter, and then Forsch and Littell with that 6-hitter.
And 3 of the 4 pitchers right-handed pitchers, and all with the Cardinals.
1-1 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike. That's right. So the Cardinals had that hot pitching streak against the Expos, back-to-back by Denny and Forsch, and then.
You know, the concern, my concern anyway, with the Expos right now is that they have not been hitting the ball well the last few weeks. They've won quite a few games, but just think back in the last few games, Dan Schatzeder, the last time he pitched, drove in 2 of the 3 runs that the Expos got. In fact, he drove in the 2 runs that won the ball. I think they got more than 3 runs in the game, but he drove in the 2 runs that put them ahead to stay. And the other night, Bill Lee drove in 2 runs of the 3 that the Expos got. So pitchers driving in some of the runs. They're not scoring that many runs.
Right. Lee won his game 3-0. Steve Rogers' last win, he won 2-1. Base hit for Gary Carter. Hit number 2 off Curtis. coming here with 1 out in the 7th, and that's going to bring Ellis Valentine up.
And you see what Gary did that time. He made the ball come to him. He's been trying to pull one out of the park, and he made the ball come to him that time and drilled it back through the middle. That's what you have to do against a pitcher like Curtis. He makes his living, makes his bread and butter on guys trying to pull the ball off him. He makes a mistake inside, then pull it.
So here's Valentine, who has popped up twice, once in foul territory to Ivy and once to the shortstop Lemaster. 0-1.
A couple of strong men standing there together at first base.
Ellis out in front again, as you pointed out a few moments ago. Curtis having the Expos out in front and off balance. John Curtis, originally selected by Cleveland in June of 1966. Turned them down, went on to college. While in college, pitched in the Pan Am Games for the U.S. Valentine out of there, and Curtis really fooled Ellie.
Well, that's the way you have to pitch, Ellie. You've got to show him the fastball, but throw him that off-speed breaking stuff. And Ellie, so anxious to hit, as quite a few of the young hitters throughout the National League are, and they'll chase pitches that aren't strikes.
Larry Parrish steps in, has struck out and popped up. Base hit up the middle. Carter will take third. And again, with 2 outs, the Expos have runners at first and third.
And we'll have a pinch hitter now. Jim Mason due up, a left-handed batter, but Dick Williams will go with the pinch hitter, and I think it'll be Dave Cash. Cash has been the hot man coming out of the dugout. He's walking towards the bat rack right now. Parrish waiting on that curve. Hit it off the end of the bat, but he found a gap up the middle. So he'd be the first one to tell you that was a lucky hit because he came off the ball. Carter alertly going to third as North plays very deep in center field. He plays about as deep a center field as anybody in the league.
It's going to be Dave Cash. Dick Williams going to the hot hand as far as pinch hitting is concerned. And Dave Cash will come up.
And Cash will stay in the game, I think, and play second base. Rodney Scott will move over to shortstop as Spire's still not able to play.
Cash has had 2 pinch hits in his last 3 pinch hit appearances. Both of them doubles, driving in runs. Got one here last night in the 9th inning, a double. It was a key hit of the Expos' comeback in the 9th, and they had to come back from a 7-5 deficit to tie the game and send it into extra innings. The Giants won in extra innings, 11-7. Cash is a pinch hitter, is 5 for 13. Last night's hit was a double off Pedro Bourbon, a right-hander.
Well, Bruce Fleming talking now with Larry Shepard. Bruce looks like a little cuddly little thing, doesn't he? If he got long arms.
Dave Cash batting for Jim Mason. Cash against the Giants overall pinch hittings, 2 for 2.
Pedro Bourbon warming up.
Right, he got a base hit off Vida Blue earlier in the season. Giant left-hander. Parrish at first base, Carter at third base. Giants lead 1-0. Curtis trying to get out of this with 2 away. The pitch to Cash. Diving stop by Evans. Out at first base. There's the play of the game. Darrell Evans making a play at third and bailing Curtis out of a jam. That would have tied the ball game up. What a play by the Giant third baseman, Darrell Evans. The Giants lead 1-0. Major League Baseball 79 will continue after station identification.
Wow. The game saver there. Cash at second. Scott at short.
This Saturday Sports Weekend presents Pan Am Games coverage, Grand Circuit Week harness racing, and the British Grand Prix same-day coverage of that event. Join Ernie Afghani's for another exciting triple header on Sports Weekend this Saturday. And CBC's coverage of Canadian Football League action continues next Tuesday, July 17th. The Montreal Alouettes will meet the BC Lions at Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Enjoy CFL 79 next Tuesday night.
Here's
Now
a
we
look
see the
at the
play now. And Cash, who takes quite a while to get out of the box, taking that full swing, but watch the third baseman. A diving play. Now you wonder how he can make that play and still throw Cash out, but watch. It's not even close at first base. Well, maybe we'll have another shot at it. It wasn't close. Take my word for it.
Here's Dennis Littlejohn, the Giants catcher. He's 1 for 2. Giants lead 1-0. Shots that are missing. Ball 1. There's Cash in the game at second, and Rodney Scott is at short. Foul back, strike 1. Home run by Mike Ivey, standing up, and a great defensive play by the veteran Darrell Evans. Littlejohn with one of the 3 San Francisco hits, a single in the third. 2 balls, 1 strike. Center field, Dawson. Got it. Tonight's paid attendance, 15,012, bringing the season total to 842,568 fans. 162,000 ahead of last year, and the club is averaging 22,800 a game. Here is John Curtis. What a job he's done tonight. Pitching a shutout so far through 7 innings. Batting here in the 8th, 1 out, nobody on. He has sacrificed and walked. Strike 1. You know, when we all looked at this Giants ball club on paper, and particularly the pitching staff in springtime, why, they were picked by many. Bouncing ball right side. Scott turns it over to Perez. 2 away. Vida Blue. Dave Cash, rather. Vida Blue, Ed Halicki, Bob Nepper, John Montefusco. People out of the bullpen like Gary Lavelle, Randy Moffett, John Curtis, and some young pitchers that are coming along. And on paper, it looked like they had the pitching staff over there in the Western Division. The Dodger staff injured with the operation to Forster, the loss of Tommy John.
Well, the Giants still think they have a chance. They don't think Houston's for real yet. They believe they've got a chance to catch them, and it remains to be seen.
Foul back by North. Strike 1. 2 outs, nobody on, and Bill North up there. Well, the Expos getting a good look at Giant pitching tonight from John Curtis. Well, he's got them shut out. That's all for North. That's all for the Giants. They go 1-2-3 here in the 8th. The Expos will be coming up with the Giants leading 1-0. Yeah, we'll only have an hour to go.
Warm up Gary Cooper and Teresa Wright.
No more movies. The Expos mascot Yuppie on top of the Giant dugout, keeping the Expos fans' spirits up. The Giants lead 1-0 on Mike Ivy's 7th inning home run against starting pitcher Dan Schatzeder, who is now out of the game. Ken Maka will bat for Schatzeder. Maka 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter, 0 for 1 against the Giants. 28-year-old utility infielder. He can also play the outfield. He can catch. And there's John Curtis, the man of the hour right now. Strike call on Maka.
Dave, the Giants have a couple pitchers warming up. Greg Minton, I believe Gary Lavelle. Gary Lavelle, the left-hander, Minton, the right-hander.
1 ball, 1 strike. Second baseman Strain gets it over to Ivy. 1 away in the Expos 8th, and Warren Cromartie coming up. Monson again in the Montreal bullpen. He'll come on in the top of the 9th inning. Here's Cromartie, who has one of the 3 hits given up by Curtis. He got the first hit in the 3rd inning, and the Expos got 2 hits in the 7th inning, Carter and Parrish. And that great defensive play by Evans to rob Dave Cash of an RBI that would have tied the game up. Base hit. Cromartie is 2 for 4. Rodney Scott coming up. The Giants have a couple of men in the bullpen, right-hander and a left-hander, and 31-year-old John Curtis going to be paid a visit by his manager, Joe Altobelli. Curtis, who came up with the Boston Red Sox, pitched for a while with the St. Louis Cardinals, now in his 3rd year with the Giants.
He's walking out there like he might take him out of the game.
Yeah, he's making that walk that managers make when they want to give the relief pitcher plenty of time. But now it doesn't look that way.
No.
No, he's going to stay with him.
Let's talk about a possible bunt situation here, I guess, and wanted to tell his fielders just how to play in defense. Rodney Scott.
There's Joe Altobelli, who for years managed in the Baltimore system. Got his chance in the majors with the Giants. One out. Cromartie at first. Ball 1 to Rodney Scott.
Well, Rodney Scott, who runs well, not bunting in this situation. He's a tough man to double up. We'll see if he double him up here. A bad flip by the shortstop to the second baseman. And the Expos have a life now with runners at first and third. And Dawson gets another chance to drive a run in.
A fielder's choice to put Scott on, and an error on the shortstop.
Here's
a
the
look
play.
at it.
LeMaster had plenty of time to get the force at second, but was thinking about two. Flipped it right on by the second baseman Strain, and Cromartie kept going to third base. Well, you'll see it again right here. He had time, but it a little bit too quick and offline.
First and third, one out. The runner at third, Warren Cromartie, is a tying run. Dawson is 0 for 3. He's grounded to short, flied to center, and flied to left. Strike one. The Expos have, with Cromartie's hit, out-hit the Giants 4-3, but trail 1-0. Last time Curtis was in a jam, he was superb. There goes Scott. Little John throws, not in time. Stolen base 24 for Rodney Scott.
And the catcher, Little John, made a good throw that time. That pitch down. He got rid of the ball in a hurry. Rodney just in there, and that's to stay out of the double play situation.
1-1 on Dawson. Strike two.
Andre trying a little bit too hard with runners on base right now. And he's over swinging, and then all of a sudden he'll get to thinking up there and then think too much and then not have a good cut at all. So he's got to get himself right and just hit the ball hard somewhere. I don't believe that's deep enough.
Clark in shallow right.
Nope.
Wasn't deep enough now. So Dawson is out. 2 down, and it's up to Tony Perez.
Well, time and again, Tony Perez has come through in this particular spot. First base open. You have 2 men to pitch to in this situation. You pitch Perez tough and not worry too much about it if you walk him. You have another batter, Carter, coming up next. He's a tough out. But so you'll see what Curtis does here. He'll nibble away at Perez.
Perez hitless tonight in 3 trips.
Look at Tony. Can't be any more serious than that, can you?
Recovered in time. Boy, Evans in the defensive spotlight tonight. No runs, 1 hit, an error. 2 Expos left as they had runners at second and third with 1 out and could not get the tying run in. So the Giant home run by Mike Ivey holds up as we go to the 9th inning. Giants 1, Expos 0.
Dawson's leaving a bunch on, isn't he? Gee whiz.
Well, there's the answer to tonight's quiz. Willie McCovey is also the only man ever to win Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player, and Comeback Player of the Year honors. He was Rookie in '59, MVP in '69, Comeback Player of the Year in '77. He played 11 games with Oakland in '76. That's his American League connection. Here's a look at that bobble by Evans, but he stayed with it and recovered in time to get Perez at first base.
Well, a good stretch by Ivy. Just barely got Perez. Perez out of the box as quick as he could get out of there, but Tony not blessed with quite enough speed to beat that one out. Dan Bonson in the game for the Expos.
Dan Johnston went 8 innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits. He struck out 3 and walked a batter.
Dave, I wonder how many of our viewers in the baseball quiz tonight were guessing Henry Aaron. I think he fit almost all of the requirements up until the very last one.
That's right, Don. He, of course, is from Mobile, Alabama. He, too, played in both major leagues. A hammer with the Braves and the Brewers. Also an all-star teammate of Duke Snider's. But the major league record for Grand Slam homers is McCovey's. I'm sure a lot were thinking Aaron. Joe Strain, a rookie second baseman, and Stan Bonson is on the mound to pitch. A 1-0 ball game. Out. Strain lining out to Scott, who's now at short. Moved over there in the last inning.
We have to remember Brody Snyder usually is cute enough to pick somebody that's here in the ballpark. Usually in his quizzes, you have to take that into consideration. A couple of weeks from tonight when we televise, why, take that into consideration in the quiz, okay?
All right, and he'll throw you a real curve. Yeah. Clark takes ball 1. Clark is 0 for 3 against Dan Schatzeder, now facing a right-handed pitcher, Bonson. Bonson, 34-year-old veteran. No decisions this year against the Giants. 4th game he's been in against San Francisco. Scott to Perez.
Well, that game will be August 1st against the Chicago Cubs, so some 3 weeks from tonight. Here he is. He's strong. Look at those arms. Big legs. Had trouble when he first started playing baseball of getting jammed. And kind of opened his stance a little. He had a very closed stance. Now almost straight away. You don't like to play close if you're a third baseman with Mike Ivy hitting. Parrish very deep.
2 strikes on the hitter. Bonson's 25th game overall, 2-1 record, 2.86 ERA, and he got his man, Mike Ivy. 3 up, 3 down inning. Nothing across here for the Giants against Stan Bonson, so that sets the stage for the Expos in the bottom of the 9th. It's the Giants 1 and the Expos nothing. Here's a look at Bonson's strikeout of Mike Ivy.
That's a hard slider breaking down and away from Ivy. Mike fooled on the pitch.
Look at Bruce
doing a little dance.
Now, Bruce, he really got with that strike 3 call. Great job. He's done a good job behind the plate tonight. Carter singled his last time up. 1 for 3. Curtis. And again Evans at third. Making the play. He's taken some wicked shots there. 1 down in the 9th.
The thing about the AstroTurf, the ball gets to you in a hurry, and if it doesn't hit a bad spot in the cutout in the third base area, why, you're okay. You won't get that bad hop, but that's what you have to worry about. Ball hitting a seam or a little speck of dirt and popping up on you.
Valentine 0 for 3. Right field, deep enough, but a foul ball.
Well, Ellie waited on that one good, but a little bit too long as the ball sliced foul about 20-some feet.
Valentine has popped up twice and struck out once. John Curtis. He's completed 1 previous game. Strike 2. There's a look.
Ellie chasing another.